Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Rodney, and I'm back. And I wanted to come in and run my mouth and talk about the tea that Terrence Howard spilleth over at a podcast. And he went into detail about, some detail about the dealings that he had with Diddy. There were some things that Terrence Howard said that I agreed with. A lot of what he said, I did not agree with. I thought that a lot of the things that he stated, I thought were very toxic. Um, I'm going to play the clip of Terrence Howard speaking, and then we'll go through the things that he said. I'll just read this quick article from TMZ. Terrence Howard, Diddy tried to F me, but I kept my man card. Terrence Howard just gave a glimpse into what he said was the dark side of Hollywood, and one example he used from his personal experience was none other than Diddy. The film and TV actor was a recent guest on Patrick Bet David's PBD podcast, where he claimed he was targeted by Diddy for sex under the guise of coaching. Terrence Howard doesn't say exactly when this alleged attempt by Diddy occurred, but claims he was invited to Diddy's place when the music mogul asked Terrence for acting lessons. Terrence claims Diddy had no material to work on and just stared at me a while before asking Terrence to play some music. Again, to just stare at him. Nothing was accomplished. When Diddy invited him back over another time, TH said he realized Diddy only wanted to have sex with him. To be clear, he didn't accuse Diddy of any wrongdoing. Terrence said a lot of people give up their man card to make it in Hollywood and become successful, but he refused to do so at any point. Needless to say, Patrick was taken aback by the story since he didn't even mention Diddy, but he did ask about the darker side of the business. We're out to Diddy's reps for comments. So far, no word back. You know what I think is, before I get into the clip, I do want to say this. I think that it is absolutely kind of on trend that people will believe a man over a woman, because it's a kind of astonishing that so many people in the comment sections are, yes, we believe him, we believe him. But let Keisha, Tiffany, Ashley, Olivia, Erica, Jane, Susan, Karen come out and say, this happened to me, girl. People are going to question it, girl, to the day's end. But if Terrence Howard comes out and says, this is what happened to me, and Diddy tried to do this with me, then it's, oh my God, we believe him. And I don't know if it's because men don't usually come forward when they have been put in compromising positions that, like Terrence Howard described, or if it's just that people just don't believe women. But nonetheless, I noticed that there were a lot of people who were, believing Terrence Howard, and it just got my wheels to turning. So let me just go ahead and play this audio of Terrence Howard, and then we're gonna get into the things of the things of the things, okay?
But when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man. So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there, because they get fluid. And next thing you know, once you go fluid, it's gone. You don't have any foundation to pull yourself back from. So maintain your man card, no matter what.
Man, I mean, one of the things you're seeing, you went to a whole different place.
Sorry.
No, I get it. So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up on drugs, end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are. And that's what the business does. And the women that trade their bodies to go and get the role, they get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principal. And what we were brought in here as men. We produce 1,500 sperm per heartbeat for a reason, because the aggression is necessary. You don't trade that in, no matter what.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music, and he's sitting there just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to fuck you. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands off with somebody. A number of producers come in and make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back. It's a difference when a guy walks in a room and when a man walks into a room. And a man don't take the same things that a guy will accept. So always be the man in the room. And that's always been my whole thing, and have lost businesses because I don't bend over in that way. I don't compromise. I don't play gay roles. I don't kiss a man. I don't do that shit, because the man card means everything.
Terrence Howard is someone, and I'm gonna go over these articles, who is very, 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 very problematic. There have been articles written on him with his him not being able to keep his hands to himself when it comes to, when it comes to his ex-wives. So him thinking the way that he thinks about, you shouldn't have any greater desire, than being a man, and him even going down the road of only accepting certain acting roles, which is absolutely fine. But again, I think that when you think about the roles that Terrence Howard has decided to take, um, it kind of lends itself to, this is why you think the way that you think, right? You won't take any gay acting roles because you deem those as, it lessens you as a man. But you will take on the role, say, of like Lucius, what's his name? Lucius Lyons, of Empire, the homophobic, drug slanging black man. Because that probably aligns more with how you feel that a man should behave, a man should act. I'm not taking on those punk roles, because that's not what a man does. However, I will take on the role of a homophobic father. Now listen, we're going to get into some of these articles about Terrence Howard, and you'll see why I've come to the conclusion that I've come to when it comes to Terrence Howard. I will say this about Terrence and what he stated about just integrity as a whole. I get it. I really do. And parts of that I absolutely agree with him on. I don't know what happens in Hollywood personally, because I'm not a part of Hollywood. However, I have heard the stories. We've heard the stories, right, of people wanting to make it in Hollywood, wanting to live out their dreams. And, these men and women are put in these compromising positions. You have people who abuse their powers. They will tell these men and women that in order for you to make it, you have to do X, Y, and Z. In order for you to make it, you have to do this for me, right? And then that starts to go against your integrity. You start to put in these positions where you probably never thought that I would be in a position of having to either just say sleep with this producer to get this role, sleep with this producer in hopes of getting this role. Like I just wanted to come to Hollywood and act, or I just wanted to come sing. I just wanted to be a dancer. And now I'm put in this position where they'll tell me that in order to get this job, you have to do this. Or if you don't do this, I'll ruin your reputation, right? I think that part of it, I think is true. You have to stay true to yourself and um, just who you are as a human and whatever you hold dear to your heart, your integrity, your morals, right? If you start to go against what you believe in, then I can see how you can get swept into that wave, right? So I get it, you know, keep a hold of your integrity and your foundation and what you are not willing to compromise. You know, one of the things, and this is very trivial in comparison to what a lot of these people actually go through in Hollywood. So, like for me, one of the things that I will never waver on, one of the things that you will never get me to do is to put a wig on my head and act like the ghetto black woman. I said that at the beginning before I even got on YouTube, right? And this is no disrespect to people who do that. This is just me. This is just for me, okay? I find laughter um, when I watch certain people, right? Whether it's Martin, Shanae Jenkins, whether it's Wanda, Jamie Foxx. We've seen some of the great comedians dress up as women, and they make us laugh, right? We even follow certain YouTubers, people on Instagram, they do the same thing. They make us laugh. But for me, that's not going to be my thing. And the reason why I've always been against that, even though again I do, watch Martin and watch, and Live in Color and all these, YouTubers and Instagrams, and I laugh. But that's not something I'm willing to do because I feel like there's always a stereotype, this negative stereotype that's being pushed that black women just act a certain way. Basically, the ghetto black bitch, who can't speak, who has no education, um, who's just ghetto. And that's not something that I am willing to do because I'd already knew coming into YouTube what I assumed based off of the fact that in real life, most of my friends are girls. So I was like, girl, it's probably gonna be the same thing on YouTube. Most of your friends gonna be girls on YouTube too. And I was like, there's no way I'm gonna get on YouTube and put a wig on my head and act. And even though I know that black women are not a monolith, I know that. Black women come in all different shades. You got the ghetto girls, the hood girls, the classy girls, the bougie ghetto girls. It's all different girls. I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. Like there's all different gay men. You have the macho masculine gay men, then you have the real effeminate gay men. So, we're not all the same. But I'm just saying that I just noticed that anytime um there's a character of a there's this character of a black woman that people push, and that's something that I don't want to be a part of. Um, and so, yeah, that's why I was like, I'm never putting a wig on my head. I'm never going to get down here, you know, playing the character of this black woman, this ghetto hood. Me, no. I don't want to. I will never partake in um, like the push of that type of black woman. There's nothing wrong with it because I know those black women exist, but that's just not that's not something I'm willing to participate in nor help push. Like, girl, y'all can't, like, you never see the girls, the guys. the girls dress up and want to be like the bougie black bitch. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like it's always a certain type of girl. But again, that's just for me. That's just for me. So I think that again, what Terrence Howard is saying, girl, you have to kind of stick to what your belief system is and what you are willing to do, what you may be willing to shift on. There are some things that will probably waver. You know, like I wear black fingernail polish sometimes. If I got a job and they told me, Rodney, you can't wear nail polish, I would say, okay, that's not that big of a deal to me. Um, However, if they told me in order to get this job, you have to act like the ghetto black woman who doesn't really know how to speak, I would say no. Get somebody else to do it, right? But again, that's just for me. One of the things I really want to touch on is also the way that Terrence Howard associates being a man. Um, and we've had this conversation before, right? Remember when Dr. Heavenly went viral what about a month or two ago with the comments that she made, and I was like, girl, that's nothing new. Most people, a lot of people think that way. Not most, a lot of people think that way. Um, I want to say most, but I believe that a lot of people think that way. A lot of people do. They strip you of your manhood if they find out, especially you're homosexual. You're no longer a man in my eyes if I find out, whether it's consensual or not, right? You're no longer a man. I think that's very dangerous to push, but it also just goes to show Terrence Howard's disdain for women. We'll get into it, um, because anything that's associated with feminine behavior, he dislikes. And if you say are bending over, even if you want to bend over, that strips you of you being a man. That's problematic. Because at the end of the day, regardless of what two people are doing, or three or four or five, whatever's going on in the bedroom, girl is still a man at the end of the day. You know what I think also fucks people up is when they find out that you are gay, if you have participated in homosexual activity, they associate that with you being a woman or less of a man. And then in some of these cases, these men may try and just say fight the gay guy, and then they get their ass whooped. And they get their ass whooped because they go in thinking that because this man sleeps with a man, that strips him of his strength, right? His physical strength. When at the end of the day, girl, we're still two men. Like, for the most part, when it comes to, say, just like a fight, a woman will probably lose. I'm not saying in every situation, but we know that more than likely, in most scenarios, when it comes to physical strength, most of the time men are stronger than women, right? So I think that because a lot of these men who think, and women who think like Terrence Howard, who take your manhood away from you when they find out that you have engaged in sex with a man, they start to look at you as a woman, not realizing that this is still a grown ass man, and you will still get your ass whooped like a grown ass man. But anyways, but I think another thing that he said that was problematic was when he said the things that they did, they can't get out of their heads, no matter if they were drunk or high. You gave up your man card. Let me just say something. I think that we have to giving up your man card, right? Basically, you taking it up the ass, or you sucking on dick, or you bending somebody over, sticking your penis inside of someone's hole. That does not strip you of your man card. That does not that does not make you less of a man. Someone who's drunk or high, who can't consent to those things, I think that's a problem that I had. The things that they did or can't get out of their heads, no matter if they were drunk or high. You gave up your man card. Well, if they were drunk or high, especially if it went against their consent, They didn't give anything. Somebody took it. Okay? Now, just because you're drunk or high, you could choose to be drunk. You could choose to be high, right? But if you are one of those people who Puff Daddy has rubbed down with baby oil that's laced with all types of shit, then you didn't give it, they took it. And again, I think that this is dangerous. It's a dangerous narrative to push because you will have those men out there. It's a reason why men don't really come forward with cases of SA, especially if it involves another man, because it's people like Terrence Howard and women like Terrence Howard who will no longer look at that person as a man, even though they are the victim. You see how they did, what's his name? The big nigga? Damien, you is a boy. What's the nigga name? What's the nigga name? The big nigga. The guy from, I cannot remember his name. Remember Damon from Next Friday, whatever the movie was. He was on White Chicks, the big muscle guy. Terry Crews. That's his name, Terry Crews. I was about to say Terrence. Terry Crews. I remember he came out and he talked about, I think like some guy in Hollywood like groped and grabbed on him and people were like, you too big to let that happen. Girl, like, it only takes a few seconds for somebody to be SA. Like, you could literally walk by. You could be walking in the mall and a man reach down and grab your dick. It has nothing to do with you being too big for that to happen. You see what I'm saying? So this is the reason why a lot of men don't like to come forward when they are SA'd or when they have been drugged, because then people will start to question their sexuality. People will start to question whether you're a man or not. When he says that you threaten to punch, oh, I'm sorry. He talks about being in compromising positions. And this is where it also got problematic for me. When he says, even more problematic, okay? When he says that you threaten to punch them or knock their heads off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman. So, I always scream this from the mountaintop with a bullhorn. Men know exactly what SA is. They know what disrespect is. They know what being in a situation that makes you uncomfortable. They know because when a man does it to them, a light bulb goes off. They don't care when it's done to women because they feel like, because you're a woman, I'm allowed to do what I want to do to you because I'm a man. So Terrence Howard even acknowledging that you're looking at me like I'm a woman. You're talking to me like I'm a woman. You feel disrespected. But I guarantee you, Terrence Howard will turn around and probably talk to a woman the way that Diddy talked to him or looked at him. And he would think that it's okay. But he knows that it's not because he didn't like the way that Diddy looked at him. So if you don't like the way that Diddy looked at you, then why do you think that women will automatically like to be looked at the same way or made to feel uncomfortable? Again, these men know what it means. They know what consent means. They know what making someone uncomfortable means. They know what disrespect means. They know, they just don't care. Because again, when a man does it to them, they understand it 100%. Be very clear. So when I see men and women in the comments talking about, oh, these men just don't know, they 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 know. Because when men do it to them, because as a gay man, if I walked around here eyeing straight men down, they would know how it feels to be disrespected. Nigga, why this nigga looking at me? But they'll turn around and do it to a woman. If I walked up and grabbed a man by his arm or grabbed a man by his dick because it's gray sweatpants season, or because a man is sad. Niggas love to sag. Because a man loves to sag, even though from what the people told me, that when you sag, that comes from prison, and it lets the girls know that you like to bend over and get fucked. So shout out to all the boys who like to sag. Um, if you're sagging and I walk up and grab your ass, right, you will know that it's disrespectful and it's wrong, and I can get my ass whooped. But men will literally turn around and do it to women. A woman can go to the club, have whatever she has on, but they think that because you're a woman and they're a man, that they automatically have agency over your body. So I can do what I want. I can grab what I want. I can touch what I want. I can look at you as long as I want to. I can literally look at you and look at you across the room like this. And you better not do nothing about it. You can't do nothing about it because I'm a man and you're a woman. But if a man does it to me, then it's disrespectful. And it makes me uncomfortable. But how do you think that makes her feel? Hello? Your mere existence as a man does not automatically give you access to a woman. It doesn't. Um, and then when he talks about playing gay roles and how, I don't play gay role. I mean, I don't play gay roles. I don't kiss a man. And that's all fine and dandy. But again, when you think about the roles that he has played, Lucius Lyon, the homophobic drug dealing baddie, because that's more than likely associated with being a man. Now, here's one of the articles that I wanted to read over about Terrence Howard and why he thinks the way that he thinks. This is according to a Hollywood Reporter. Terrence Howard, this was written on September the 15th, published September the 15th, 2015. Terrence Howard admits hitting ex-wife. I lost my mind and slapped her in front of the kids. So Terrence Howard has faced numerous allegations of violence against his two ex-wives, and now he's admitting to hitting at least one of them. In a new interview with Rolling Stone, Howard expressed his contrition for a 2001 incident during which he allegedly punched his first wife, Lori McCombs. She was talking to me real strong, and I lost my mind, and I slapped her in front of the kids. Howard, who was arrested following the incident, tells the magazine her lawyer said it was a closed fist, but even slapping her was wrong. The police report also notes that Howard punched her twice with a closed fist. As for his second wife, Michelle Gant, Howard was accused in a lawsuit she filed of beating her severely in 2013 in Costa Rica. According to the lawsuit, Howard followed Gant into the restroom of the rental house and punched her on the left side of her face. Howard also grabbed her by her neck and pushed her against the bathroom wall and strangled her for several seconds. Howard responds to these allegations as well in the Rolling Stone interview. She was trying to mace me, Howard explains, and you can't see anything, so all you can do is try to bat somebody away. She tried to mace you because you're trying to whoop her ass. And I think that something caught her, but I wasn't trying to hit her. Now, Howard's relationship with his current wife, Myra Pack, also appears to be conflicted. Pack, the mother of Howard's son, is present and affectionate throughout most of the interview, and Howard remarks of their relationship. When you meet your one, it's completely balanced. I've got a good wife. Strangely, Pack reportedly separated from Howard in 2014, earlier this year, and filed for divorce, which is expected to be finalized soon. Girl. So all I'm saying is, girl, at the end of the day, Terrence Howard, the way he thinks, it falls in line with the type of man he is. If you talk to him crazy, he's gonna knock your head between a washer and a dryer. His idea of what a man is based off of basically if you have sex with a man. If you have sex with a man, you're automatically stripped of your manhood, whether it was consensual or not. Um, Again, I do agree that you have to, when it comes to your integrity and the way that you want to move as an individual, you have to stay kind of concrete in your beliefs, um, and not waver. But also, those people that abuse their power, they should be held accountable to. Um, him basically saying that Diddy looked at him, Diddy was talking. I mean, people, not Diddy, people, who put him in these compromising positions. I guess these directors, producers, whomever. They talk to you and look at you like you're a woman. So he felt disrespected because it was coming from another man. But a woman can still be disrespected or feel disrespected with it coming from a man also. But that's the way that he thinks. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction. Again, his idea of masculinity, I think is very toxic. I do. You playing a gay character has nothing to do with you being a man. But again, he'll play the homophobic drug dealing black man. So, because that more than likely aligns with what he feels that a man portrays a man should be like, a homophobic black man. You should have no greater desire than being a man. He even talks about the sperm count. And also, in some of these cases, we see how these situations play out. We can watch Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, Love and Hip Hop New York, and we see these men who are producers, whether it's Stevie J. Stevie J is an actual real bona fide producer. But we see these men like Stevie J, who will get with these women and they will promise them of being the next Beyonce, right? You'll have Puffy, who will get with Cassie and say that Cassie is probably going to be the next biggest star. No shade to Cassie. Girl, I have a better chance of being the next Beyonce before Cassie had when she was on stage singing Me and You. I'm thinking, I think I want to make a move now. Tell me how you like it. Tell me how you like it. Oh, girl. You know what I'm saying? But they get these girls, especially some of these girls who are still 18, 19, and promise them the world. You have someone like, what is his name? Rich Dollars, who will promise Erica Mena she'll be the next biggest star. And then he's a part of a friend group, and they have called themselves on television the Creep Squad. and they wear that as a badge of honor, right? So we see these situations play out where these men use the little power that they have to they use their power for pussy, and they make these women promises that they know will probably more than likely not come to fruition. um Cisco. Remember Cisco? You know, San Santana, Joe Budden's baby mama. Remember? He was working with her on the song. Um, he figured out that she didn't want any parts of him romantically. And after he found out that he basically wasn't going to get no cooch, he wanted her to pay for the song. So it's situations like that, again, where we hear these stories, we see these things happening, of these men and even women in positions of power who use that to lure you in, and then you have to kind of be strong enough to stand in your morals, right? And then I do think that when you are in these positions and you start to lose yourself, right? I think that's when the even if you are successful, because you have someone like Justin Bieber, right, who is very successful, but again, he just looks like a sad soul. And a part of me believes, one, he was a child, and then two, whatever happened to Justin Bieber, he's just never fully recovered from it. So even when women and men come forward, but most of the time it's women, and they say, this is what happened to me, it does baffle me how so many people will say that they're lying, even though we see these things play out in real time. Like, we see these things play out on television. We've seen it with our own eyes. We see these men refer to themselves as the creep squad. We see these men tell these women, oh, y'all can make you the next big star. but then they're also dating these women. We've seen Rick Ross say that, he can't really deal with women because he's gonna fuck them. We've seen how he put Just Britney. Can you remember that TV show? I didn't watch the full TV show, but remember the TV show? He had a show where it was Rick Ross, and they hyped Just Britney up when she was singing, but the other girl, they pretty much said that she was whack. So it's things like that where men use their positions of power. I remember Kodak Black on the Breakfast Club basically saying that if you are a woman and you do business with him, you're gonna have to sleep with him. So again, these things happen. It's not up for debate. These things happen. We know they happen. But again, I guess you just have to kind of make sure that you as a person, you have a grip to who you are, and you're not willing to waver on who you are as a person for anything. You know, it's sad all around. Well, not all around, but it's sad for the people who are put in those positions, right? One thing that I forgot to touch on was when the interviewer mentioned Bieber. He mentioned Justin Bieber. And it kind of reminded me of the times that I've gotten on here and talked about, for the last, few plus years, how every time I see Justin Bieber, he just appears like a sad soul. Um, he never looks happy. Um, it's almost like he has a bad day every day. It's just like a sadness when I see him. Um, of course, being photographed by the paparazzi, and it kind of reminded me of when he got started. When Justin Bieber was discovered, he was a child, and the stories that we've heard, and the fact that he was linked to Usher, because I think Usher discovered him right on YouTube, and the things that Usher probably went through because Usher was shipped off to Puff Daddy's home. I think Usher was 13, 14, and I guess they were, trying to make him the next best, greatest star. And I guess depending on who you ask, I don't know if it paid out or not, but I don't think if you have to go through things as a child, I'm not saying that Usher went through anything, but I'm just saying that if you have to go through things, especially as a child, I'm not going to say it paid off for you. I don't care how successful you are. But I remember Usher also stating that he would never send his kids, would he send his kids to like a Puffy's house, and he was like, no. Um, so just with the interviewer mentioning Justin Bieber, I'm like, if he's mentioning Justin Bieber for a reason, because he's probably heard the stories, or he's thinking the same thing, or maybe his name came up in the interview, and we just don't know it because this was just a 3-minute clip that went viral. I feel bad for Justin Bieber. I do. I feel bad for all people involved in these situations, but especially children. Especially children. It's bad no matter what lens you look through it, because SA is SA and the R word is the R word, no matter who's involved. With that being said, it does take it to a different level when you hear about it happening to children. And I do believe that something did happen to Justin Bieber. And I don't think that Justin Bieber, with a lot of the other, Hollywood, stars, the young boys and girls, I think that Justin was one of a part of the crowd that was not protected. I do. I think that the people around him failed him. I just wanted to come back and just add that about Justin Bieber. All right, y'all. I'm going. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good night. Bye, y'all.